A new VC model, decentralized autonomous trusts. Forward-looking companies are eyeing Malta for a prospective sandbox environment for the deployment of DATs. Let's take a closer look at several case studies on this front. Moderated by Randy Boyer, Network Society Lab. Joris Delanu, Fairmint. David Orban, Network Society Ventures. Simon Hooper, Betway Group. Alex Armengol, and Blockchain.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Randy Boyer, and I'm the CEO of Network Society Lab based here in Malta, and I'm the moderator for today's panel. Now, you've heard this name, Decentralized Autonomous Trust, but in actuality, it's the same elderly care platform, and he will be providing the company perspective on this.
Network Society Lab. Joris Delanu, Fairmint. David Orban, Network Society Ventures. Simon Hooper, Betway Group. Alex Armengol, and Blockchain.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Randy Boyer, and I'm the CEO of Network Society Lab based here in Malta, and I'm the moderator for today's panel. Now, you've heard this name, Decentralized Autonomous Trust, but in actuality, it's the same elderly care platform, and he will be providing the company perspective on this new concept. We have David Orban. He's a very well-known AI and blockchain investor and visionary, and he's going to provide the investor perspective. Next to him, we have Joris, who you just heard from, who will provide the platform perspective and also the perspective from the United States, because he's courageously tackling the US jurisdiction. And finally, at the end, we have Alex Armengol from Andorra, and he's going to give the perspective from Andorra and Spain. And Alex is spearheading economic development efforts in Andorra to use blockchain and concepts like this concept to help fundraising in his country. So because each panelist has a unique perspective, what I'd like to do is, starting with Simon, have them tell you why they think this particular concept is advantageous. So Simon, why do you like the continuous offering concept?
God, how long have I got? It's a gift from heaven. We've spent 4 years building a solution, a healthcare solution. And I'm not from the healthcare sector, I'm a geologist, so that's been a bit of a mission, but I wanted to address the needs of those being cared for from diagnosis to end of life. Person-centered care in relation specifically to my mother's requirements. And that was a fine mission. We've done it, we've deployed a solution, but the one issue we face all the way along is money, raising money. And we are beholden to an archaic funding system. And we raised our money eventually from crowdfunding. We raised $500,000 from people whose families or people they knew had dementia. And that kind of told us a lot. You've got to basically look to the people to raise money, not to the world of banking or to VCs. But as we progressed, and we're about to go to scale now, our needs become greater. So we have to raise money at scale. And we looked at ICOs, IEOs, STOs, and they're not quite right for the healthcare sector for many reasons, not least because we want our members of the ReMeLife platform to benefit and to be able to be involved. But that answers so many issues and solves so many problems of what we're trying to do. It's perfect timing, perfect timing.
Thanks, Simon. So David, from an investor perspective, why do you like this particular concept?
Investors deploy capital, allowing entrepreneurs to allocate resources to achieve their challenging and ambitious goals. And while doing so, they must balance somewhat complex and sometimes contradictory objectives. They want to minimize risk, maximize upside, and manage the investments while being able to get liquid at the right time, whichever that right time is. So we believe that continuous offerings achieve a very interesting balance in these various parameters, and they promise to be also very compatible with the outlook of the regulators. A lot of investor interest waned in 2018 and in 2019 because of how regulators have put a brake on innovation. And recognizing that the investor and entrepreneurial community has to work together with the regulators and implementing solutions that are able to achieve this without hampering the innovation in the fundraising model has the potential of reigniting the level of enthusiasm that a lot of capital is waiting for there to be deployed, to catalyze the entrepreneurial spirit that drove 2016, 17, and in some part 18. So I'm really looking forward for Joris's platform to go live and for Network Society Lab to bring its clients to the plate, because 2020 is looking to be very exciting again.
Thanks, David. So, Joris, you're in a very unique position with Fairmint being basically the developer and creator of the idea. So, you've talked to all these entrepreneurs, all of these investors. What are they telling you? What's the reaction?
Well, we saw some enthusiasm from the founder, basically raising fund or get financing without giving any governance right was something that is completely new for them. And we also noticed that the fact that they can execute and that they will be judged on this execution generating the revenue of their company was also something both for the funders and the investor, the stakeholders, something that really matters, because it was not like a blank check at the beginning of the company, like we can see with so many fundraising. And finally, what really matters is more like what can be changed. And I mentioned the idea of creating a new table beside the cap table. You can make a continuous offering and run it while keeping your current cap table. The only stuff is that you will build a fair table beside that where anyone can come and sit at any time. And that's probably the best opportunity of the continuous offering.
Fantastic, Joris. So, Alex, I've been hearing good things from Andorra and Spain. Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on there in relation to this concept?
Well, basically, we are very enthusiastic on it. We're first for not only because it's enthusiastic, but it's also under the umbrella of the economic theory of disruptive innovation, where it gets the three pillars all together, and I would say into two different markets. No, it disrupts from one side the credit loans from the banks somehow for mature companies, and the other side it disrupts also the investment, the venture capital investments, who has full risk, and in that side we take out the risk. No, so the three pillars: one would be, of course, high tech with the blockchain side. The second pillar would be the non-users, and these are which are the non-users? In the side of the loans, we have these companies that cannot go to the bank and ask for a loan because they don't have a third collateral to back up this, whereas the debt builds up a kind of third collateral, which is not a third, it comes from sales, but in that side it gives that. And in the venture capital side, of course, the non-users, I would say, are the venture capitalists that would like to find venture capital projects, but with some backup next to it. No? So it's really good. And the third pillar, of course, democratization of it, because if we're looking at the companies that want to have a loan and cannot have this loan, or the mature companies, it's really huge. So this democratization comes up. No?
Fantastic.
And on the point of view of Andorra, perhaps on another side I'll tell you about that. Sorry.
Thanks, Alex. Well, it's a new concept, and it's now just being tested and rolled out. Surely there are some issues and challenges. Simon, from your perspective, from the company's perspective, what worries you?
What worries me? I've got 121 investors through crowdfunding, and I had to, about 3 weeks ago, inform them what we were doing, exactly, in precision. Blockchain, DATs, tokenization. It's a difficult mission. There's still a misunderstanding in the marketplace with regard to blockchain being aligned with the dark web. It's still out there, it's still prevalent. So getting the message across is definitely not easy. But the upsides overweigh it. All you've got to say to an investor is you're not going to be diluted with this new mechanism, and you're on strong ground straight away. It brings so many advantages to the table. The proposition of being able to have liquidity is pretty alien to the average investor. So in terms of the issues, I think legacy is probably the biggest one to overcome. And that's something we're all going to have to deal with across the whole world of blockchain. But no, I see a bright future. I really do. We're probably one of the first to do this. And it's critically important for us because we are on a mission, I guess, it's not too grand a word, to decentralize and to democratize. We want our members of our ReMeLife platform to be able to ultimately be able to profit from the growth of their platform, to profit from the use of their data, to basically participate in profit, which is not something that's generally prevalent in the world of the larger corporates and FANGs. So I think getting the message across to the consumers of what we're offering is going to be the second big issue for us.
Thanks, Simon. David, from the investor perspective, where do you see the challenges?
When you invest in startups, you have to look at whether the timing of the initiative is right. And as far as continuous offerings and that is concerned, it feels like having learned from the experiences of ICOs and STOs, this new initiative really is eager to make sure that the pitfalls are avoided and has a chance to succeed. However, the second thing that an investor knows is that even if the timing is right, what makes initiatives fail is the lack of execution. And too many entrepreneurs believe that doing many things at the same time helps them succeed in at least one so that they can save themselves. Today we have a situation where a lot of people don't understand that not only technology is technology, but taxation is technology, legal frameworks are technology, regulations are technology. And continuous offerings and that, as an ecosystem, have to execute on all of those fronts at the same time. Each of them has individual risk factors that are multiplied together, and the final result, whether it will succeed or not, will depend on minimizing the risk factors on all of them, because failing on one will kill the entire attempt.
Thanks, David. So Joris, you're about to launch this platform soon. What keeps you up at night?
Sorry?
What keeps you up at night? What's the challenges that you're facing?
Well, probably the main challenge is eating our own dog food. So we will run the first CSO for Fermint. That means that we want to fit the US regulation, and we want to be fully compliant so that we can onboard both international investors as well as American investors. Another challenge is obviously how to evangelize this new way of financing. Continuous offering is probably a new way to get financing, but it's also a new way to conceive the way a company will work. Accepting the idea that a fraction, a fixed percentage of your top line that would go to this collateral, and that it can be sustainable this way, and that gives the opportunity to people to speculate on this collateral, on what would be the future revenue of the company, is probably a new step that many people will have to do, and we need to evangelize that. So I would say that probably the main challenge now is to vulgarize and evangelize that.
Well, you're deputizing an entire room of people on this new concept, so.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So Alex, from your perspective, working with the government and working in the countries that you're working in, what challenges do you see?
Well, as I said before, with disrupting bank credit loans for mature companies, and we're disrupting venture capital somehow, no? So these are great threats for our establishment. And basically, that it's a perfect quick win to start up and align or put a frame on our country's strategy for blockchain, which in a sentence could say Andorra International Hub for exclusive blockchain projects, bridging the gap between establishment and disruption. And that's what we've done. Instead of fighting with our establishment on the technical or side, we went to them and we said, hey guys, well, your business is dying, as you said before, the capitalism has some kind of threats, no? So why though instead of fighting in between the cyberpunks, let's say, and the banks, why we don't work together? And working together, what we can do is trace up a plan together and push up a strategy for our country that is strong and unified. Our motto in our flag is Virtus Unita Fortior, which means together we are stronger. No? But the end, this Virtus Unita Fortior makes up that we can tell to our establishment, hey guys, instead of kicking you out, you work with us together, we plan together, and we put a space for you in this new economy where you could still be a relevant participant in the economy, no? So we've done that, they accept it, and of course, for us, that represents one real product that banks want to be part of it. Now of course, we're negotiating how it's gonna be, but they are already very kind of it. Yeah?
Thanks, Alex. Well, we're just about out of time. I just wanted to thank our participants, Simon, David, Juris, and Alex. And if you have any interest in this topic, all of these panelists are going to be down in the exhibition area in the Network Society lab stand G7, and you can follow up the conversation. So thank you very much for participating and hearing our panel, and I hope this is of interest to you.